Well, I think that's the wrong question to start with. That our responsibility towards the people in our families and in our lives is to love them, not to fix them. I think parents generally at the heart of things, they want to know that their children are safe and happy, and when they can perceive a threat to one of those things, then they can kind of get into we might call emergency room mode, right? Something's wrong. I need to make it right. How do I do that? How do I fix that? What's the right brochure or book or website or homily or video that I can give to my son or daughter and get them to, to change everything. So I think what's needed right at first is to take a deep breath and not to panic, to trust that God has not forgotten about anybody, that your child is the same person that he or she was yesterday before you found all this out, and that you have every reason and ability to continue to love them as you always have. I think that the first thing that we need to do in that case is listen, to express that gratitude that they've trusted you with that information. Explain, this is something that's very new to me, so I'm not going to understand it right away the way that you do, but I am willing to listen, and I would like to understand all of this better. So when you're ready, as you're able, I'd like to just hear the parts of your story that I haven't heard before, the things that are going on in your heart and your relationships that I'm not aware of yet. And I probably have some follow-up questions, and I hope you don't mind. But I really would just like to listen and hear from you what this is about and what this is like. And then we can just continue to accompany our loved ones, stay with them as circumstances change, as things develop, and let them kind of move at their pace, while we try to just continue to show love and support in as normal a way as possible. I think a lot of our ability to show people that we love them is just that, by demonstrating it, by living a certain way, rather than by having the right words to say. And so to continue to reach out, to continue to welcome them, to continue to express that desire to listen to what's going on and to help when you can, not to pressure them, not to push them faster than they're able to go, and to try to respond even to hurt feelings or to angry words or to unkindness with as much patience and cheerfulness as possible. That can get a little infuriating sometimes. I'm getting angry at you, why aren't you getting angry back at me? But just to try to understand, so many emotions are involved in this experience, that the last thing that we want to do is respond to unkindness with more unkindness. So I think the better that parents can do to kind of lay the foundation where it becomes more and more obvious to their son or daughter that they really are loving them and looking out for them and wanting to be with them, as difficult as it might be to accept sometimes. That creates an atmosphere where hopefully when it comes time to have conversations about difficult topics, like whether it's a good idea or not to be in a same-sex relationship, for example, then if we've laid that foundation of charity and patience and kindness and cheerfulness, then hopefully their son or daughter will be able to hear that word from them not as something condemnatory or judging, but is really coming from a place of charity and concern. They might not still agree with it, but at least it'll be clear to them why their parents are saying what they're saying. this is a big fear that many people have, and a well-founded fear. I mean, when people are hurt, they oftentimes will speak in absolutes and say, "I just don't ever want to see you again." I think as Christians, we always have to hope in God's providence, in the way that God manages to move people's hearts, invite us to think again, the way that the cross, is a very powerful source of grace for reconciliation always. So again, kind of like when they had that first conversation about coming out, it's important, I think, for parents not to panic if this happens, and if possible to say to their son or daughter, "I'm really sorry that you feel that that's necessary. It's never been my intention to hurt you. I understand why you're angry or hurt about what I've said, but I can't tell you something that I believe is false, and say that I think it's true just to make you happy or just to keep you coming back." And so sometimes we have to let someone walk away for a little while, always continuing to pray for them, always continuing to want what's best for them, to stay connected when we can do that without hurting the other person. For example, birthday cards or things like that, from time to time. Not trying very hard not to take hurtful words personally, but to recognize that's coming from a place of emotion and not, it's not necessarily the final word on things. But sometimes, as I say, to let that person go. But then to ask God always for the grace to let go of whatever anger or hurt we might be feeling, so that if the son or daughter comes back, then the parents are able to receive them back cordially and with open arms, and not ever be at the place where they say, "Well, you should have come back, weeks ago or months ago or years ago." Not asking even for an explanation, but just being as merciful as possible and saying, like the father in the story of the prodigal son, you were gone and now you're back. I thought you were dead and now you're alive. I'm just glad that you're here. And I think always in our relationships with loved ones, to make a distinction between the action that either they're taking and we can't accept as something good, or that they're asking us to take and that we can't do without going against our consciences. To make a distinction between those actions and decisions and the person involved, right? That you always have charity for the person, always strive to make that person feel welcome, even when we disagree.